Hello all of you government test subjects, it's me, your very annoying cringe man. Now, fair bit of warning before I start the video. I have a horrible stutter, so there might be some, awkward skips in this video. Please try to forgive me. Now that that's out of the way, I'd like to discuss a new, mechanic in War Thunder. The mechanic is thermals. God. Thermals are available on most top-tier tanks, and only available on 4 8.7 tanks. Now, I have seen in the War Thunder community that a lot of people seem to be very confused about what thermal imaging is and what night vision is. They're two completely different things, first of all. Second of all, even with night vision there are two different types. To start off, thermal imaging that tanks have. Thermal imaging is the same kind of technology you see in devices by the company FLIR, a thermal imaging company that makes two different kinds of thermal imaging devices. One, the consumer-grade, high-accuracy thermal imaging devices, which have a full color spectrum, and black and white thermal imaging devices commonly used for military applications. They're both the same thing, but their color palette is designed for different uses. For instance, in most consumer applications, you need very detailed pictures of something's heat signature. Like, for instance, in electronics and fires, where you need to see exactly where something is hot and where it is cold, and where that heat extends to. Which is why you need the full color spectrum. But when it comes to tank warfare and night fights with boots on the ground, you don't require that same level of accuracy. What you need is very high contrast images, so that your soldiers or your tankers can easily detect enemies. Thermals come in two types in War Thunder. First gen and, third gen thermals. The first generation thermals can be seen on tanks like the Leopard A1A1 L44 and the AMX-30 Super, and I think the AMX-30 B2 Breno. I don't know of the others that have thermal around that battle rating range. But these tanks might have the blurrier thermals, but they are still very powerful. So powerful, in fact, that trees, bushes no longer really matter in the game. Camouflage doesn't even matter to thermals. To normal vision, you could blend in, but to thermals, you stick out like a sore thumb. And that has a lot to do with the way the environments are temperature colored in War Thunder. You see, the actual maps in War Thunder they don't have the correct temperature. Like, if you use thermals in a desert map, these tanks are still gonna pop out like nothing else with thermals on in War Thunder. when in reality, it should actually be a little bit harder to spot in a desert map, because of the fact that the ground and everything is a whole hell of a lot hotter. So tanks wouldn't stand out as much. But everything really seems to be the same temperature no matter what map you're on. Now, if War Thunder were to give the maps accurate temperatures and accurate colors, then thermals would be a lot less overpowered. And if thermal imaging, at least the first generation, had a really slow update, well, really slow frame update, because if you've ever used even modern thermals, you can't wave the thermal imaging system around and expect it to, show every single frame. No, it's actually quite slow on how they update. If War Thunder were to add that, I could see, thermals being balanced at 8.7, but right now it's way too overpowered for the game. And considering that the Leopard A1L44 was already overpowered, this is just kind of ridiculous. Now on to Night Vision. Night Vision in War Thunder also comes in two types. The first one that I'll be showing is modern Night Vision. Modern Night Vision captures, at least to my knowledge, two types of light waves. One being infrared light waves, and the other being visible light waves. Some people think that thermals capture infrared radiation. No. The infrared spectrum is not the heat spectrum. If you know any stores or any of your friends have a home security system or anything like that that has those little red lights surrounding it, those are infrared emitters. Very cheap ones at that, but they still emit infrared radiation. Infrared radiation is most commonly seen as being more white. But if you've ever looked at a really white screen at night, you'll know that it is incredibly painful. So the military uses green-colored lenses and digital sighting equipment. Since modern night vision uses both infrared and visible light to create a image of the night, it's actually less effective than, say, the night vision on the Panther II. Because in conditions when it is completely blind, you will literally be able to see nothing. But tanks like the Panther II, before I begin this part of the video, I should mention that I changed the test drive settings before starting this one, because I want to show just how much better tanks like the Panther II are at night battles. I should also mention that infrared emitters are called infrared emitters, not infrared lights. See, lights are called so because they emit visible light. microwave emitters and infrared emitters both emit invisible wavelengths. Now, with normal night vision, it's not really any better. In fact, it's probably a lot worse than just the normal night vision on the Leopard A1A1L44 in this weather. But with an infrared emitter, unlike tanks like the Leopard A1A1L44 and most modern tanks, this uses only infrared radiation to be able to see in the dark. It has no image intensifiers like modern tanks. It takes both ambient infrared radiation and infrared radiation from the emitters on board. In blackout conditions, like night battles and incessant rain, tanks with infrared emitters perform much better than tanks without, simply due to the fact that without them, there is no other infrared light being emitted, other than from ambient light sources, like street lights, stuff like that. Even then, it can oftentimes be so little that it won't improve your vision at night, which is why they require image intensifiers, because they learned that having a big F-off laser beam of a light pointing everywhere for all of the enemies to track you was a really bad idea. I will be returning to the Leopard A1A1L44 for the last bit of the video, just to showcase what it looks like in these same conditions. Here's the Leopard A1A1L44 in the same conditions I had the Panther II in. With night vision on, you can see that, well, you really can't see shite. And there's no way to improve your vision, because, well, you don't have any way to emit infrared light. You have to get up really close to anyone to be able to see them. So all in all, the Panther II is actually more effective at top tier at night against tanks with only night vision than tanks with only night vision at top tier. But it's also a lot more vulnerable. That is my Damars video over with. Thank you if you managed to stay all the way through my annoying voice, talking for however long this video is going to be. If you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, dislike it to hell. And if you would, please give constructive criticism in the comments, because I really need to know what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. Thank you for watching.